The Ghana Gas Company Limited has announced an impending temporary shutdown of their Tuabo gas processing plant for maintenance. The mandatory maintenance, according to a statement from the company, will be from April 20, 2015 and will last for between 10 and 14 days. It says the shutdown will be undergoing maintenance for the first time. The plant will be undergoing maintenance for the first time, having run for nearly 4,000 hours since its installation. The Tuabo gas plant provides natural gas currently used to power thermal generation units at Abuadze in the Western region. The statement, however, explains the Volta River Authority says there is adequate light crude oil in stock to fuel the plant during the shutdown and that it should not affect power generation in the area. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority and Social Security and National Insurance Trust have begun the process of implementing amendments to the Tier 2 pension scheme to ensure that pensioners get what is due them. Minister of Employment and Labour Relations Haruna Idrisu has given the regulatory body 14 days to resolve their impasse with the pension scheme. The group met with the minister on Friday afternoon.
The forum made up of the representatives of the 12 labor unions, including CLOSAG, Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAGRATS, Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Ghana Medical Association, GOSPA, among others, met with Minister of Employment and Labour Relations Haruna Idrisu to resolve the impasse with the Tier 2 pension scheme. Also present at the meeting were representatives from SNIT and the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. After about 2 hours behind closed doors, the team came out fairly satisfied with deliberations. Minister of Employment and Labour Relations Haruna Idrisu has given the regulatory body 14 days to resolve the impasse with the pension scheme. Haruna Idrisu tasked the team to pay pensioners the retirement benefits due them by reconciling the two acts, PNDC Law 247 and then Act 766. President of NAGRAT, Christian Adaipoku, says the meeting was fruitful but intimates he wants to see results.
Well, so far it has been promises and directives. So I wouldn't say it's too bad, but we want to see results. So when our brothers and sisters who have gone on retirement are paid what is due them, and if he is committed to making sure that the issue in court is properly resolved out of court, as he's saying, to make sure that workers do not unduly suffer from this, that is also welcomed.
Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Yangson, says the meeting was long overdue.
Meeting was long overdue because workers generally are beginning to have problems with pensions and what they are earning out as at the point they retire. Their pension benefits is what we are talking about. You will recall that lately there has been this topical issue about one particular principal midwife who retired. That has also brought some of these issues to the fore. Luckily, MPRA, Senate, and all the other parties, including Labour itself, of which I'm a member, were here. We have made known to them the problems that the ordinary worker who has retired is encountering, and they've promised to correct them as soon as possible. I think that this is a good start. We can all continue from here and make things work properly.
General Manager in charge of Finance at SNIT, Ni Ajanabla, says plans are in place to meet the 14 days deadline. On 22nd October 2014, 12 of Ghana's labor unions embarked on an indefinite strike to press home their demands over government's failure to pay their Tier 2 pension scheme contributions and demanded full disclosure on the funds accrued in the scheme and control over selection of trustee for the management of the funds. This meeting is expected to resolve about 90% of the issues with the scheme. Etonam Say, Joy News.
The Convention People's Party has got yet another assurance from President Mahama that its assets confiscated by the state in the late 1960s will soon be returned to them. Describing the seizure of the properties as injustices of the system, the President indicated the Attorney General has been tasked to identify the said assets and that the matter will soon be given closure. He was speaking to the Council of Elders of the CPP who called on him at the Flagstaff House. The visit was described by the CPP Council of Elders as a follow-up to President Mahama's assurance during his last State of the Nation address in February this year that the confiscated assets will be returned.
We felt it is very fitting for us to follow up, to come and say thank you for doing what you did, because it was a very bold and courageous gesture of restoration and restitution. If there is any way we can also help you achieve this, please don't hesitate to invite us to come.
The CPP has always challenged the basis for the confiscation of the asset, insisting that contrary to claims the state funds were used to purchase them, they were acquired from the sweat and toil of party members.
All the buildings, the regional offices of the party, and some district offices of the party were paid by party dues. People contributed, farmers contributed, the trade unions contributed, and therefore, and those of us who were in parliament at that time, we also contributed. At that time, we were paid only £80 sterling. Today, you people have been paid millions of cedis.
A former Minister of State who served in the First Republic, B.K. Century, describes how he and his father contributed towards the acquisition of a party office now being occupied by government agencies.
My father paid £2,000 sterling, not to your cedis. As you rightly did to your ministers, we were paying from £80, £10 every month to the party office. And that's why we were able to build the party offices all over the country. So we have the basis for asking the government of Ghana to return our properties to us. I know it is a big problem because you are now occupying, the police are occupying almost all the regional offices. So you have a headache. But let me tell you that whatever decision you take on the properties, we will abide by it.
The Attorney General, according to President Mahama, is expected to submit a report on the assets being claimed by the CPP.
It was the Apalu Commission of Inquiry that carried out those confiscations, and so she's gotten a copy of that Commission of Inquiry report and identifying the properties and comparing it with the list that you gave us so that we can properly identify the properties that we are discussing. And she would send her recommendations, but I'm sure that at a point in time she would invite you so that she can have a discussion with you about this issue before she sends her final report to me as president. And so I'm hoping that we should be able to put this matter to rest in the shortest possible time.
The CPP has in the last few decades been fighting to reclaim assets which were confiscated after its independence flag bearer and Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was overthrown in 1966. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Flagstaff House. Two suspects being kept in a cell at Esiwa in the Ashanti region escaped yesterday. It is the third jailbreak in the country in about 1 month, following similar incidents in Denu and Tepa. The district chief executive for Bosomi Frehon, Kwame Adakwa, accused the police of doing business with policing in the area after the jailbreak.
Tell me, what happened with this particular cell break? What can you tell us?
Well, what I can say is we voluntarily arrested these people. It's not the security people who arrested them. We arrested the leader on Wednesday night and brought the leader with a phone and a machete to the police on Thursday. But on the phone were some numbers, some pictures, and so on and so forth. So we just used them, the pictures, to identify, because their communication, their WhatsApping was on the phone, and we traced it to find out where they were, and we got their pictures. So we sent the pictures to the police, and with the machete and the suspect. They later informed me they have arrested another extra two. So on that fateful Saturday, I was informed by one of my drivers that one of the policemen called Amanda told him somebody brought some food to those in the cells, and the food was a household bread. So he informed me, and I questioned them, why didn't you arrest the person? So in the following day, I heard that they are off. The prisoners are off. I asked myself, what is going on? So Monday, officially, the district commander informed me officially that they have gone. When we came there, we saw they have caught an iron rod in one of the ventilation store at the turret, and they are off.
Can you show me?
Look at the small one. So they are off. So in fact, I told them, and they told me it should be a secret because they are hunting for them and know where they were, and they will bring them in say 2 days time. So I started fishing. But what frustrated me is yesterday when the complainant, the owner of the machine, came, they insulted him and threatened even to put him into cells. That he have no right to come and ask about the case anymore. So I went there myself, and the police, they repeated it. The inspector also repeated it, and even told me the only thing I can do to them is to report them for them to be transferred and nothing else. So I think there is a fishy deal in it. So that's the whole thing. Even the car, the boys show us where they have hidden the car they are using for the operation, and I used my official vehicle to go and tow the vehicle, and it's there.
Also, the district and divisional police commanders under whose watch 2 suspects escaped from the Itawa prison cells in the Ashanti region have been transferred as, quote, punishment. Confirming the transfer, the public relations officer in the region, ASP Mohammed Tanko, said the move is also to serve as a warning to other officers that negligence will not go unpunished. Jailbreaks have been grabbing news headlines in recent times, as 4 such incidents have occurred in the last 3 months. In the Bosome Ferhon district last Sunday, 2 suspects broke jail after cutting through metal bars.
Yeah, yesterday there was a meeting of officers throughout the region at the regional headquarters in Kumasi, where the regional commander took time to direct all divisional district and unit commanders under whose jurisdiction they are cells to ensure that the cells are visited regularly. They are supposed to check the doors, windows, and other security features to ensure that they were intact. They were also supposed to ensure that they do regular monitoring so far as the men who are on duty are concerned. That was only yesterday, and he warned that any officer under whose jurisdiction any suspect is able to escape will face serious sanctions. But let me say that this incident we are talking about didn't happen today or yesterday. It happened all the way on Sunday, and the divisional commander, the district commander, the station officer, and everybody who was involved or who was supposed to have charge over the station kept it from the regional command. So the regional command sees this as a very serious act on the part of those officers. So as I speak to you, the regional commander has transferred the divisional commander and also the district officer, the station officer from the place, whilst tips has been directed to institute a thorough investigations into the conduct, and then if they are found to have misconducted themselves further, then disciplinary action will be taken against them.
So, Mr. Tanko, you're saying this happened on Sunday, but does the transfer of the commander constitute a punishment for what's happened?
Yeah, it's supposed to serve as a punishment and also a deterrent to other people who will neglect their duties and allow such things to happen under their very watch.
Sorry, but for those who are living in fear at Siwa as we speak, will a transfer of the commander fix the problem? It wouldn't, would it?
Yeah, it wouldn't. That's why I was. No, it will serve as a deterrent, and if it serves as a deterrent, it has a larger repercussion. You understand? We are looking for means of ensuring that it doesn't happen in future.
13 remand prisoners were today granted bail at the Tamale Central Prisons by judges of the Justice for All program. A number of these inmates had been on remand, some for 5, 7 and others almost 8 years, but had never been granted bail.
Those granted bail on Friday include some of the inmates featured in Joy News' documentary Locked and Forgotten. The documentary exposed the dehumanizing conditions under which especially remand prisoners are kept. The Chief Justice, Georgina Theodora Wood, following the expose, reactivated the Justice for All program as a way of dealing with issues raised in the documentary. So far, about 41 inmates from Nsawam and Koforidua prisons have been discharged. High Court Judge Justice Constance Homotou, who supervised proceedings at the Tamale prisons, tells Joy News they are poised to decongest the prisons.
The exercise will help. Once we are bringing some people out of the prisons, they are no longer in the prisons and they are no longer contributing to the congestion or the overcrowding situation. But the Honorable Chief Justice has thought it wise also that we organize workshops for the judges and the magistrates. Judges of the circuit court and the district magistrates. This is to sensitize them about the human rights of the accused persons. And we are also looking at the fact that one of the cardinal principles of our criminal justice is the presumption of innocence. Some of the accused persons here in detention may well be innocent of the crimes they are accused of. So once the judges are adequately sensitized, I think we are getting somewhere. And I believe if you get the records from the Ghana Prison Service, they will tell you that the Justice for All program is having a positive impact on the decongestion situation that the prisons face.
Principal State Attorney in charge of the Northern Region, Salia Abdul Kudus, says the public should not blame them for the many years they spent prosecuting the cases of remand prisoners. He says their major challenge has been getting witnesses to appear in court to testify.
The Northern Region, we are a closed society. The region is a closed society, such that after reporting the cases, it's usually very difficult to get the witnesses, the complainants, to come and testify, because invariably they are family members. Most of our offenses are committed within a family setting. So when they report the matter and the processes have been completed for the case to be tried, they begin to drag their feet. So most of the time we have to dispatch vehicles to the hinterland to get the witnesses to come and testify. It is at a great cost to the state because the resources are not there. And we do our best to get them, even though it is not very easy.
Seth Kwame Boateng's report for Joy News.
Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV and also on ABN TV across Europe. Stories so far. Ghana Gas Company Limited is announcing an impending temporary shutdown of the Etwabo gas processing plant for maintenance. When we return from the break, we'll tell you what running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has been saying. Please stay. You're welcome back. Many thanks for staying. Now, police in Nsawam have mounted a manhunt for a driver who bolted from an accident scene after crushing 4 children at Okanta in Nsawam. 3 of the children, according to the parents, died instantly, with the 4th in critical condition at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The police are searching for the man whose identity is still unknown.
A family of 7 now slashed down to 4 due to the recklessness of a driver whose only known identity is Emmanuel, a.k.a. Dombote. The 3 children, Amina, Nasiru and Fuseina, were sent to their early graves. Chief Superintendent Kankam Bwedu of the Nsawam Police says the police is making frantic efforts to apprehend the driver.
As at now, the driver has not been arrested. He's still on the run. Well, since the incident, we have been searching for this driver. We have not been able to get any information about his whereabouts. So we are still searching for him. As at now, it's the car owner who will give us the details of the driver. So in collaboration with the car owner, we are trying to get the identity of the driver so that we'll be able to find him from his hideout.
The family has been grieving since the tragic incident happened.
Police The case is at the police station and the police said they will take care of it. I get worried a lot. When I remember the children, I can't even sleep. I'm looking up to the police to see what they'll do.
The
case is at the police station and we are looking forward to the police to come out with something positive. This was where it all happened on that fateful day. Vehicle on its way from Nsawam to Kumasi veered off the road, and as you can see from here, this was where it all started. Now the vehicle went through this place and ended up there where the people are gathered. That was exactly the spot where these 4 children were standing. Now the vehicle knocked all 4 of them. 3 of them, according to the parents, died instantly. Now 1 is in critical condition at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Now the hope of this family is that she gets well and join them soon. Latif Idris, Joy News, Okanta.
Also, the police in Nsawam are calling on the general public to visit the Nsawam Government Hospital for identification of a body of a man who also died in an accident around Pampaso between Suhum and Nsawam Road. The driver of the Sprinter bus GT 558914 also bolted from the scene after the accident and left the casualties to their fate. Property owners of the East La residential area have given President Mahama a 2-week ultimatum to call the military to order. The property owners say they will have no option than to drag the government to the Supreme Court if it fails to address their concern. This warning follows last month's destruction of an 800-meter fence wall of the property developers in a demolition exercise that was carried out by the military. The owners, however, insist the land rightfully belongs to them.
The tussle over the parcels of land has gone on for over a decade. The case has been sent to court on 2 different occasions. In spite of this, the property owners say the military has continuously harassed them over these parcels of land they believe rightfully belong to them. Solicitor for the East Dadekotopon Development Trust, custodian of the land in question, has expressed disappointment in what seems to be the military's disregard for the rule of law. Lawyer Ezen Akwete has therefore called on the president to intervene.
Yes, at the moment, since we have 2 actions pending in the High Court, one of the options we are contemplating is bringing contempt action against those soldiers who carried out this unlawful action. But for the larger picture, we have planned and will be heading to the Supreme Court to seek certain constitutional reliefs. Because we take it that the action of the military is not just about destroying people's property. It is a disrespect to the Constitution, it's a disrespect to the rule of law. And we believe that to the extent that the military officers owe their commission to His Excellency the President having sworn to uphold the Constitution, and for that matter the military, if the Supreme Court were to make certain declarations and grant certain reliefs, it should bring matter to an end once and for all over the country, and that should affect all security servicemen.
When do you intend to do this, take this action?
In fairness, we are giving ourselves about 2 weeks, because when this happened, steps have already been taken to protest. We have not officially heard anything from the executive, and we've not heard anything from anybody.
Lawyer Akwete tells me this could end up as another judgment debt, because if they lose the land, government will have to compensate all property owners.
One of the reliefs will be that upon true and proper interpretation, the military cannot seize any citizen's land and use it for a buffer zone, in the light of the guarantees of right of ownership. We shall also seek appropriate compensation for those whose properties have been destroyed. And we shall also seek an order for the Supreme Court to order the President to clean the military of those who have demonstrated that they do not believe in the Constitution or the rule of law.
The military, however, remains tight-lipped about the claim for the 1.5-kilometer tract of land they intend to use for a buffer zone around its installations.
A press conference to address a land dispute between residents of Iron City and Amanfrom, both suburbs of Kaswa, ended abruptly when armed male residents of Amanfrom stormed the venue for the news conference. Derek Ekosam has more.
Residents of the area say they live in fear as a result of the incessant attacks from some members of Amanfrom who are claiming ownership of the lands at Iron City. But leadership of the Central Mechanics and Spare Parts Dealers Association, SEMSTA, say the land was given to them by the government of Ghana after spare parts dealers at Kokompe refused to relocate there. They also say appeals to the Municipal Chief Executive of Ewutu Senya East Municipal Assembly, Dr. Adams Nuhu, have not received any response. Christiana Chigoman speaks for the Landowners Association of Iron City.
We have been under siege by Amanfrom and the Gasouth Municipal Assembly. In recent times, they have attacked us with armed police and military men. They claim that parcel of land we are staying on, Iron City, belongs to Amanfrom, which is under Gasouth Municipal. The EI-20 stipulates clearly that that place does not fall under Gasouth. It is in under Central Region, that is Ewutu Senya East. Because as at now, our lives are at risk. Recently, I saw armed police and armed military men breaking down my building. That building is still there as an evidence. We have sent it to the Municipal Chief Executive, the Member of Parliament, the Chief of Staff, the Attorney General. We have sent it everywhere. The police headquarters have received it. The Kaswa Police Command has also received its letter.
The chief of the area is pleading with the president to, as a matter of urgency, step in to forestall what may generate in an altercation between the two towns.
So we don't know what will happen tomorrow or tonight. Are you hearing me? Because something like, you see, maybe they will gather themselves, positions themselves in certain areas that they will begin to attack people. You understand? Maybe in the dawn, in the night, in the day. Are you hearing me? And before you go to SCC and come back, then what happened has happened already. So we are pleading to the government, the authorities to come to our aid and also show us the boundary, whether we fall to the Gasouth or we belong to the Central Ewutu, so that the community will be free.
He also says they may head to the courts for redress if their pleas are not heeded to. Derek Ekosam's report for Joy News.
The people of Tindon Sobligo, a suburb of Bolgatanga in the Upper East region, are calling on government to intervene in a land dispute between them and the Kalbil community before it degenerates into conflict. Upper East correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Accession by a few disgruntled elements peddling false goods around Bolgatanga and other parts of the country that land in Bolgatanga is owned by individuals and families is mischievous and a complete misrepresentation of the fact intended to cause confusion in order to achieve this goal. For this reason that we, the Tindama, are calling on the Regional Security Committee, the Minister for Interior, and ultimately His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, to quickly intervene as a matter of urgency in this unusual happening in Bolgatanga in order to avert the unexpected that may be unpleasant for our.
Right now, chop bars are usually found in enclosed areas, sometimes in wooden or block structures. But at Medina, a community here in Accra, some chop bar owners choose to operate right in the middle of the road. Joy News' Kwachi Afreniama has more on this.
A heavily built average height man busily pounding fufu in the middle of the road at the Medina Zongo Junction. Close by is a tent with a long queue of customers waiting to be served. Now, this is usually a busy venue during the daytime as mobile phone vendors, coconut and used clothes sellers haggle customers to buy their wares. But from 7 p.m. each day, these chop bar operators take over. And finish, they work from the median strip, which is the reserved area that separates opposing lanes of the roadway. Cars move on both sides of the road at very top speed. Both the food vendors and their customers put their lives in danger under these circumstances.
One thing is that we don't have any other place. We don't have any other place. This place is private inside.
Madam Educhumwa is one of the chop bar operators here. She says although she knows the dangers associated with running her business at this spot, it's all about the profit.
If you are operating inside, you will not get any. You will not get any. And these are getting wet. These are Ghana here when we are now. These are getting wet. So if you don't know, you will wait to operate in hiding place. You cannot make it.
Kwame Ban, a resident here, tells me about a near fatal accident he had while eating here a month ago.
1 month, Friday, about 1 month, 3 weeks. I moved to bomb in front of Blue office anymore the bed.
It's very dangerous eating by the roadside. A month ago, I came here to buy food, and as I was standing in the queue, a motorbike knocked me down. I was severely injured in the process.
But to many of the customers here, the risk associated with this is the least of their concern.
I said the food like it, and the drivers they are warriors.
So what would you say to those who say it's dangerous buying food here?
If I'm a fair, I don't know how I explain it. It's dangerous, but because how you ask for me. I don't have here, I don't have anybody.
No, that is a dangerous. Me self, my mom said it. And me self, I'll eat. Then any boy can't eat for this. Yeah, but I not get any place to go and sell the thing. But my mom self no get any place at all. That is manage for this.
Cheap things are expensive, and this trend suddenly puts the lives of customers on the line. For Joy News, Kwache Afreniama.
When we return, we bring you business news. Please stay with us. Financial analysts have been speaking. Abigail Adumako entry standing by with business news. Welcome, Abigail.
Yeah, thanks, Gifty. Would you want to take a loan now?
I've never liked loans. So is that what you have in your business news?
Yes,
right,
well, there's some advice. Let's get the details now. And financial analyst Chris Odamting has advised now is a bad time to take a loan, especially if you don't need it so badly. According to him, increased bank base rates of 2.5% due to the depreciating cedi and energy crisis makes servicing loans around this time too expensive.
According to the Bank of Ghana, bank lending rate in Ghana increased to 33.85% in December of 2014 from 31.83% in November 2014. Bank lending rate in Ghana averaged 26.75% from 2005 until 2014, reaching an all-time high of 38.84% in August of 2014 and a record low of 21.24% in March of 2008. The past few weeks, however, has seen banks in the country raising their base rates, citing high operational costs and developments on the foreign exchange market, among others. A financial analyst Chris Odamting, however, says this is expected.
Well, it's not only the way the city is behaving. The other part of it is the overheads that they have. Don't forget that we are now experiencing a little bit of increase in terms of overheads, especially because of the fuel. And then the energy power crisis. People are now using much more fuel for generators than they were using normal electricity. So that is an issue, and that should be covered one way or the other. So obviously, once it's good, there's an increase in overheads, there will be some increase in the base rates.
The Standard Chartered Bank, for instance, has announced an increment of 2.5% in its base rate effective May 1, 2015. The bank, however, maintains that the increment will affect only customers with loan accounts. Customers of the bank have confirmed receipt of a notice informing them of the set increment.
Like I said, if you're financing a dollar mortgage, the best thing to do is to talk to your bankers and have it converted into cedis. Okay, I mean, there are many companies in Ghana who actually do that. They look at the currency and decide which currency they would want to actually service their loans in. And it's only prudent to do that to make sure that your financial management is key. Okay, now, but again, with those who want to take cedi mortgages, they don't have an issue. I mean, because you don't have a choice. Normally with mortgages, you have a floating rate. Some do have floating rates. And if you have a floating rate, yes, at this point in time it's high, but it means that when things get better, you would have a reduction in your rate.
Chris O'Dampton also advised against accessing loans around this period, explaining that the challenging economic times the country is faced with is not favorable to service loans, adding that customers are bound to pay much more than usual. Etonamsi, Joy News.
Now, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, has introduced the mobile application technology that allows businesses to access the necessary information for the operations. The AGI says the application system will also give the country the right standing to attract investors by way of the information it presents to the international market through the app.
Businesses are dependent on technology on all levels, from research and development, production, all the way to delivery. For the private sector, there is a need to leverage ongoing technology, particularly on the widespread use of mobile phones, to grow businesses. The AGI has therefore developed a mobile app to help businesses access necessary information for the operations.
Of course, you know that in Ghana, everybody has phone. In fact, actually, the least you can have is at least 2. So when it is so convenient at any point in time with you, you'll be able to get information. Yes, we know that in the past we've been using the emails, we've been using the news flash and other things. But then it is very convenient when at any point where you are, you can know the current business trends. You can even know, especially when you are an investor outside of the country, you want to look at which areas in the economy that you can invest on your phone through AGI's application or AGI's app. You know, you can be able to know which sectors of the economy that you can invest.
The application also allows polls to give citizens the opportunity to contribute to business growth.
If any policy is introduced, you know, which to some extent, you know, has some misfeelings, you know, among the business community, you can get a feedback as a government, as an institution. You know, you can immediately get a feedback through the AGI app as to whether the business community embrace that what you call policy or not. Again, too, we can use the pools, of the apps, you know, to get a feedback from the entire business community and also the private sector.
The application is also a marketing tool that allows businesses to reach clients across the length and breadth of Ghana with just a click of a button.
The running mate of the New Patriotic Party's flag bearer for the 2016 elections, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says he never lied to Ghanaians about the figures he churned out at a recent lecture concerning the 980 million bailout package Ghana got from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The former deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana told the African Christian Network in New York he stands by his claims.
I just took a look at your book. I just got a copy of it and took a glance at it, and I realized that you gave a speech last year, March 2014, on a lecture on restoring the value of the city, and you did predict that Ghana would actually would request the IMF bailout. What can you say about that right now?
Well, we did predict that, and I think I'm not the only one who predicted it. I probably made it more publicly. And it was really a warning at that time that things needed to be done differently. Otherwise, we would get into a situation that it was totally avoidable. But as it is, we have gotten into the IMF program. It was approved yesterday, and we just hope that what needs to be done to get us out of it is actually done, and done with the commitment that will actually get us out of it. So this is what we have. These are the cards that we've been dealt, so we have to play them.
Cool. Thank you so much. Another question in regards to that. I believe that I read an article in the news stating that, well, according to the recent figures that you gave in regards to the IMF bailout, it was misleading. How can you clarify that? How can you know?
Well, it's people just when they don't have anything to say, they make such blanket statements as misleading. I gave a talk, 70-page paper, and quite well researched and well documented. So I'm quite comfortable. And in fact, you know, I don't even understand what can be misleading. The question was, will the IMF anchor hold? I said, this is why we got into the IMF. You were spending too much relative to revenues, which is true. You were borrowing too much, which is true. Your external payments position has deteriorated, which is true. And so you ended up, your growth is reducing, which is true. So you ended up at the IMF.
Dr. Bawumia there on the African Christian Network. And that'll be all for business. My name is Abigail Adumakwenchidu.
Time now for some sports. And local organizing committee chairman of the CAN 2008 African Cup of Nations held in Ghana, Dr. Kofi Amwa, says the Ghana Premier League slump over the years is because the Football Association is bereft of ideas. The seeming lack of patronage by fans and the neglect by possible sponsors, coupled with the poor performance of teams in Africa's inter-club competitions, are strong pointers that vindicate CAF's latest ranking, with Ghana outside the best 30 leagues in Africa. Dr. Amwa tells Joy Sports the league image will be dragged further in the mud if Football Association does not introduce quick reforms.
Now, the structure of our football in Ghana, the clubs, the only way they can make money is sell their best players. Now, if you look at it, if the best players are always leaving, how are you going to have an entertaining football tournament? Then we are going to be Team B and Team C. You know, it's not interesting. So the GFA the other time wanted to ban the viewing of English football so that people will be forced to watch our game. I don't think that's the right way. So I'm with you. If we want to become a great football nation, which we are, but if we want to become a greater football nation, we need to have a plan. We need to go on blueprint starting from now. We want to win the World Cup in 15 years. And I think it can be done, you know, because the talent is there. But the way we are doing it, the local league is nothing to write home about. There's no money being made. The people who are playing the game inside Ghana are not paid well. So their only hope is somebody to sign them to leave Ghana for them to make a decent income.
Ghana's most famed convicted armed robber, Ayi Aite, popularly known as Atai, has described as extremely exaggerated the crimes for which he was jailed. In an exclusive interview with Joy FM Super Morning Show host Kojo Yankson from the Anchor 4 Maximum Security Prison, he conceded that he was involved in several robberies, but he says he knew nothing about the crimes he was sent to jail for. He also denied being Atai, explaining that the wanted criminal photos released by the police did not bear any resemblance to him.
You had seen all the billboards. They had put up the big billboards, your picture.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that?
I'm very happy that you asked me that question, because all those pictures that they put it over there is not my picture. Even the name that they were giving to me is not my name. I was not calling Atai. My name is Ayi Aite. Even before I was arrested, they asked me my name. My full name is Raymond Ayi Aite, not Atai. I don't have Atai in my name.
So where did that name come from?
It's Kofi Boache who gave me that name.
DCOP Kofi Boache?
Yes, please.
How come? How come he gave you that name?
I don't even know, because time they were mentioning Atai, because I know I'm not Atai, so I'm not afraid of anything, because even the picture that they landed over there is not my picture. So I don't know if I'm the one that they are looking for.
So they came to your house, you were drying the clothes and they came?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
As soon as they entered the house, they said they are looking for Atai, and I said, no, I'm not Atai, I'm Ayi Aite. They say, no, I'm the one they are looking for. Okay, fine. Because I know I haven't done anything. Once they said I died, fine. And I was arrested over there. There, one of the policemen took a gun and then hit my head. So that became a cut, and then the barrels started throwing over there. And then they took me to regional CID headquarters at Accra. We went there and we met the regional commander, ACP Kofi Wachi. Later, I was there, even they said I should write statement. I said, no, I don't know what to write because I haven't done anything. So before I was there, they brought many papers. They said I should sign. I said, no, I can't do that. But there, they started beating me again. So they forced me and I complete all the papers for them. Later, they sent me to court.
But you thumb-printed the documents?
Yeah, because of the way they are treating me, they are even beating me over there. I have to do it because if I don't do it, they will kill me.
And then you went to court? You had a lawyer?
Yeah, okay, they gave me a lawyer. They gave me lawyer, Mr. David Annan. That's my lawyer.
Was he good?
Okay, he's good for me.
Did you tell him that you had been tortured?
Yeah, I told him.
What did he advise you?
Okay, by then we started a trial. I told him everything. Even in the court premises, I told the judge. He said I shouldn't worry, we will know what to do. 30th March 2005, they sent me to at the preaching parade. I'm not alone, we were many. The people that they have been robbed, they came and point people among us, but none of them came and point me.
Ayi Ayete, popularly known as Atta Ayi, there speaking with Kojo Youngson. The full version of the interview will be played on Joy News. You don't want to miss it, so please stay tuned. That's it for the bulletin. Before we go, let's take a look at our top stories again. Running mate of the new patriotic MPP says he never lied to Ghanaians about the figures he churned out at a recent lecture on IMF bailout package. Ghana Gas Company Limited is announcing an impending temporary shutdown on the Ituabo gas processing plant for maintenance. National Pensions Regulatory Authority and Social Security and National Insurance Trust has begun a process of implementing amendments to the Tier 2 pension scheme. And police in Nsawam mount search for a driver who bolted from an accident scene after crushing 4 children at Okanta in Nsawam. Also, 13 remand prisoners have been granted bail at the Tamale Central Prisons by judges of the Justice for All program. There's more news at myjoyonline.com and multitvworld.com. My name is Gifty Andropia. Many thanks for your time. Up next is PM Express with Nana Ansapao. Please stay tuned.
This is Joy News Prime.